Just a few more matches left here in bracket number 1 for the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Open, as we do, of course, have now 2 more players to play off against one another, and the winner of that will go on to play against TLO for a spot in the group stages. I'm Kyle Lowris. Joined with me is Tasteless, we have Artosis, and we have Todd. We're going to be getting into Bly versus Snute very, very soon, guys. What do we think about how this is going to play out between these two?
Well, the other 3 casters were all like going, oh, I think Snute's got this, you know, he's so good. I'm going to turn that right around. I think they're wrong. I think Bly's going to take this. This guy's a very aggressive Zerg. His Zerg versus Zerg is very good, if you ask me. I think that he can take down Snute today, who hasn't looked as bulletproof as he normally does.
If we look at the performance so far in this tournament, Snute lost to Lambo 0-2, and Bly beat TLO. So Bly definitely been playing a little bit better in ZvZ.
I mean, you were saying coming into this that Snute didn't feel too confident when you'd spoken to him before. Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, that was mostly against Protoss, though. I don't think it was in general, but I mean, he hasn't looked as good as he does usually.
I mean, let's not forget, though, Bly did have a pretty crushing defeat. Like, just a little bit ago. That definitely is going to affect your mindset. But I think you guys are right. Snute does not seem to be playing as well as we would all be expecting him to be. He's not performing like we would expect today.
And you can't underestimate Bly. This guy has like so much experience. He's great at ZvZ.
Right.
You know, I think probably a 2-1 either way, but I think, you know, Bly can make that upset.
I think regardless of who does win this, then they have to go on against another Zerg in TLO. I suppose the matchup isn't one where you like hide strategies or anything like that. Zerg versus Zerg is very, very figured out. But overall, out of those 3 players, who do you guys think actually takes this final spot?
That's a good question, James.
Thanks. That's why I'm here as the desk host.
Oh, boy. Well, I mean, if I'm going to say that I think Bly might take out Snute, I have to say I think he might take out TLO as well.
You think there's the potential?
TLO has been winning his matches, but it feels like he's relying so heavily on creativity that, you know.
Wow.
That's all he needs, though.
Apparently.
I would say Snutes. I'm feeling Snutes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Fun comeback there.
I think Snute.
Wow, you guys are so brave. I'm so glad to be on the desk with you both right now.
All right, well, I think we are just moments away from being able to get into this game. So we can head over to the commentary team for our second final series in bracket number 1 between, of course, TLO. Sorry, not TLO even, I should say. Between these 2 Zergs, let's get into it.
And those 2 Zergs are indeed going to be Bly and Snute. G'day, guys. Full Aussie cast here. My good brethren. Peg, how you doing, man?
Good. Bringing a bit of action from down under. It's always nice to cast with you once in a while. The rare chance that we do get to.
And action from down under is the best place for action to come from. So coming up now, we have a ZvZ. A lot of Zergs here in the lower bracket. They're starting to get shilled off one by one as the household names are starting to crush through that lower bracket.
Yeah. I mean,
and these 2 have been around for a really long time. So this is going to be quite explosive. Probably literally.
I think there's going to be Banelings. Yeah. There'll be Banelings. Bly is going to play very aggressively. Snute's going to really try and defend everything that comes his way. But we see Bly, he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He understands the mind games that go into it. So I am very curious to see how this one plays out.
All right, and in the bottom right here, from Team Liquid, this is Snute. Chucking on that hoodie. Euthermal did tell me that he's always cold. Poor guy.
And his opponent spawning up in the top left-hand side, the ever-aggressive Ukrainian Zerg. It is Bly.
Soaring up into 16 supply, hasn't even dropped a pull yet.
I know, what is going on? Interestingly, you know, Snute's been throwing out a lot of aggressive builds as well. I feel like we might be seeing a pull first out. No, Snute is going to go hatch first. Okay. This is interesting because when I see a bunch of Zergs from Team Liquid, especially, of course, TLO and Snute, come back from a boot camp and both doing a lot of early pull, one baseling Bane rushes, I think. Did you guys just completely fail to hold this in practice? Do you think like it's really, you know, and it is a good build and the slightest mistakes get you killed against it, but we did see Snute fail with it earlier against Lambo. He kind of sacrificed his natural and came back. So
yeah,
I wonder if they're going to be playing overly safe and going, you know, very defensive pool first openings at all. For now, it looks like Snute just comfortably going hatch gas pool.
Yeah, it's actually mirrored builds for both players. Hatch gas pool for both players. So the gentleman's agreement. The sensible greedy opening here for ZvZ. Bit interesting to see, you know, we expect aggression and craziness from Bly, but this is as standard as it gets. It's like, I want to play early to mid game.
Give him a few seconds though, right?
Well, yeah, all right. We'll wait for that. We'll wait for that Baneliness before we say too much.
It's always funny because there's always this kind of certain level of safe logic that players play once you get to the Ling Bane phase of Zerg vs Zerg, where you always leave some units at home to defend, but Bly is always the guy who will be like, it's fine, you're running across the map with 30 Zerglings, I've got one Baneling at home, I'll just send everything else to counterattack, and I will try to take you out in the messy situation. I'm going to try and always be very sneaky. So the big thing Snute has to worry about, especially here on Abyssal Reef, is does he have Overlords in the right position? You can already see he's pathed his second Overlord right up to the top middle of the map, looking for any sneaky Zerglings. In fact, both of them looking for Zerglings, sneaking around the edge of the map, worried about that early pull. And in the next stage, they're going to be really looking to watch the exits of their opponent's base. Now, I'm not sure if that Overlord caught those 4 Zerglings.
I'm not sure it did, actually.
But if Bly hides those, morphs those into Banelings later, that can be a really good staging point for a later attack.
Both players very, very similar mirrored here, but there's the slight difference is that Snute eked out that extra drone, and Bly does actually catch Snute's lings on the side here. It does seem like Snute may have missed these lings coming around the side. A non-favorable engagement there for Snute, but does find a better spot here in the high ground.
Oh, Bly there does have the one Zergling advantage. So
nest first for Snute.
Yeah, this is interesting. You know, Snute here really respecting the threat of aggression, but something Bly has shown a lot throughout the entire last 12, 15 months of Legacy of the Void is he loves to skip the Baneling nest and just go big Speedling aggression straight into Roach aggression sometimes. And Snute here, if he overinvests in Banelings, Zerglings, then he may fall behind against this.
Yeah, they're not super amazing against Roaches. Can work, but often not the case. See that Snute's trying to get this third up, and Bly is as well back at home. So he's going to go for Roaches, and yeah, you're absolutely right, Pig. You see the Roach versus Ling Baneling composition here for Snute. So he's going to have less tanky units, but they are still going to be quite punchy.
Oh, Snute's got to be careful. Ooh. He's down on Zerglings right now, and he's really got to rely on these Banelings to zone out Bly's forces, but already losing a lot of his Zerglings takes a lot of the meat out of his force. Bly might be able to kind of split up and wear him down a little bit, but already Bly with a very good aggressive position. However, the work account tells a tale, which Bly is not looking too good in right now. Down 7 workers already.
He's making another 6 now, so he will catch up, but that is time lost here, and mining gained for Snute as he has his third starting to be saturated right now. And there's that Roach Warren on the way for Snute. It's not too late. Oh, lovely connection there. Oh, Abyssal Reef, how I love you.
Oh man,
how I love you so for your physics.
It just knocked off the lead boots those Zerglings were using to run along the seabed there, and they just floated up to the surface. Of course, Bly flew in late last night. He was saying his condition wasn't too amazing when I was talking to him before. He said he just landed at midnight.
Wow.
But if there's one player who I have faith in to still play damned well from that position, it is Bly.
Yeah, lovely
Snute, though,
Queens,
gonna get a nice surround. There's no support here. There's no reinforcements coming in.
Yeah, and 2 Queens, massive pickoff there for Snute, and he comes into Bly's throat, but there is a lot of Roaches blocking his path. But I would be very happy as Snute here to get those 2 Queens at that third, absolutely. Oh, maybe a couple drone kills as well. He does get a couple drones. What a great run by here for Snute.
That worker lead still looking very powerful for Snute. He's behind in that +1 upgrade by only a few seconds. His lair is a little bit quicker than Bly's. And overall, Snute just looking to be very comfortable. If Bly can't find an aggressive window, he's just going to start to steadily drift further and further behind in that supply count. More and more Roaches will be coming out for Snute. And this is a situation which really does look very good for the Norwegian Zerg player. I mean, you were saying it looked like Bly just wanted to play a bit more of a standard game, Maynard, and he actually has done that. But Snute just showing his class and practice in this sort of StarCraft game.
The infestation pit coming out. Stuff's going to get pretty cool here for Snute as he heads into the mid game. You see that he is starting to make Queens here, and Bly is starting to go for Spire. Now, how do you feel about the Spire choice, Pig?
I mean, I don't think it's a bad choice normally, but Bly's already been playing against so many Zergs. He's showed his play. TLO clearly knows exactly what Bly's game plan is always like from here. He's been speaking to TLO, and he knows, oh, you're going to go Spire? That's fine. I'll make Infestors and Queens, and I will just completely block your Mutalisks, take a 4th base, and be in a beautiful position.
And Snute coming in here, and a lovely scout here from this lane confirms the Spire there, and he has got every single advantage in this game so far. 4 Infestors on the way here, +1, just about to finish for his Roaches. Speed a little bit earlier as well, but not sure if we're going to see that come into play, but we are going to see a 4th hatchery just start up for Snute, and getting Hydralisk as well. He's powering the tech so hard here.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a really beautiful point. We can already see there's going to be 4 Infestors, Burrow on the way. They're going to gather up a whole bunch of energy. And Snute is going to hit this beautiful point where he's about 200 supply, maxed out. He's going to have 2 Fungals on each Infestor, so 8 Fungals in total, and a big ball of Hydralisks. And in the meantime, with this number of Queens, if he just gets down a few Spore Crawlers, I don't see any window for Mutas to do any harassment damage. So Snute here is just going to get such a powerful moment in the mid-game with Roach, Hydra, Infestor, and I can't imagine Bly's Mutalisks achieving anything.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I feel like this is going to be 900 minerals and 900 gas of wasted resources here for Bly. How do you even beat this army of Snute with what he's trying to pump out here? Yes, Roaches are fantastic for Bly to get those up in number, but the Mutalisks are a lot of resources, and they really are just going to get shut down so hard by Hydralisks and Infestors.
Bly's scouting around with these changelings, with Snute actively denying those very well. No tech transition behind this from Bly. Nothing like lurkers, which would actually be fantastic against Snute's composition choice. Just straight back into mass roaches. And this is the same pattern Bly's been playing with a lot, and I think just getting a little bit too predictable. Snute so far able to play the defensive, calm, patient game, which he enjoys. Just saying, you know what? I'm better at this sort of game than you. It's on you to try and make something happen to me, to try and disrupt my play. And so far, Bly has not found a single opening.
And Burrow is done now. No reason for those Infestors to ever see the light of day ever again. They can just stay underground and do their ambush Fungals. Getting a Queen here. Nice move there for the Mutalisk. Getting rid of this production. Getting rid of this. Oh.
The Infestors don't want to launch their spells preemptively. They're just waiting for it, and there we go!
Oh, bad.
Nice Fungal, grabs 7 of those Mutalisks. Another one chains down. The Queen's coming in to finish off the job. Only 2 or 3 Mutalisks are going to get free of that. The Spore Crawler weighing in as well. Actually misses the last Fungal. Only ends up grabbing about 4 Mutas, and that does really slow down Snute's Fungal count, but does it really matter?
Well, now Bly has to deal with this giant army of Snute. He does have quite a lot of army supply. A bit of it is in Mutas, and he's going to have to drop some, I mean, Snute is dropping some static defense here to deal with the fact that he has to deal with these flying worms. But his army just seems better. Like, I would much rather be the guy that has the Roaches, the Hydras, and the Infestors versus the guy that just has a ton of Roaches.
It's funny because I keep thinking Snute's about to push, and then he just queues up another 13 drones. He's like, well, I'm ahead. I don't need to go kill you. Like, you know, if I attack and you have really good defense, maybe you defend with really great corrosive bile micro.
Starting to get a lovely gas bank as well to be able to reinforce those high-tech units.
This is just a very calm, patient play from Snute. I mean, if there's one situation where we would say, how could Bly win this series? It's definitely Snute getting a little bit ahead of himself. Maybe, you know, moving out and getting caught in a weird base trade where the Mutalisk suddenly will find value. But if he just shuts down the attempts for Bly to mess up the game, Bly's overcommitment to this early and mid-game compositions just won't pay off the longer the game goes. Roaches and Ravagers are going to lose value over time, whereas Hydras, Infestors, and now Hive Tech on the way, all of these things are going to gain value.
One small thing that Bly did do with those Mutalisks that I wanted to touch on real quick was kill a good cluster of Overlords. He forced Snute to put a bit of resources into making that supply cap back again, but we see the situation here where it doesn't really matter. Snute is maxed again, or just about maxed. Bly also maxed with a lot of Roaches, but it is a low-tech army, and he is down in upgrades. Trying to get that Carapace upgrade up. Tunneling Claws, a pretty cool upgrade as well for Bly to get.
Yeah.
Could come into contention, we'll see. And he's going to get some Ravagers peppered in as well.
I think Bly right now, he's got to try and base trade. Surely he can't fight this army front on, but he's not positioned for it right now. He's not even going to see this push until he gets to his doorstep. And he's got Corrosive Bile, but he doesn't have anything to lock down Snute's units. Nice Fungal from Snute, grabbing off the last few of those Mutalisks. Only one Mutalisk will survive all of that. And it looks like Snute is finally going to start edging in, looking for that engagement. Bly, he's going to try and just zone him out with Corrosive Bile. But if he gets hit by Fungal, things can go south very quickly.
And speaking of going south for the Ukrainian Zerg here, the underground siege tanks, the Lurkers, are going to be hitting the ground pretty shortly here as the Lurker Den 3/4 of the way done. Snute, funny position here. A lot of his army is actually on the right as well, waiting for an opening to be able to hit that, but Bly is ready with a big concave of Roaches and Ravagers. Bile's actually making very well. A huge Fungal from Snute, though, but he doesn't have enough DPS in his army to finish it off. And actually, Bly is winning the engagement on the right very handily.
Yes, Snute here separating his army a little bit too much. He didn't have any Corrosive Bile to capitalize on that Fungal, but the Hydras are making a good account of themselves with that raw damage output. Does end up trading out here with Bly.
Good hold by Bly.
Yeah, good defense. Bigger bank for Snute, but I mean, that's the start of what could be a potential turnaround. The question is, where do you go from here? Vipers are on the way for Snute, and it looks like just more Roaches from Bly. No transition whatsoever.
Yeah, does he even have he doesn't even have an infestation pit. So tier 3 for Snute is going to be a massive advantage as far even just looking at 3/3 upgrades and Vipers. This is a huge advantage.
I haven't seen Blinding Cloud since the patch. You know, the radius, sorry, not the radius, but the duration does go down from 10 seconds to 6 seconds. So I haven't really seen any Viper Roach Hydra battles in ZvZ for a long time. So
you're about to.
It's going to weaken it a little bit, but this is what Bly needs to do. Get out on the map, look for those counterattacks. Snute took so long to go and force that fight that it really didn't favor him that well.
Spore and a whole bunch of spines. Snute's seems like his static defense might just do the job for him here. As these roaches come in, they're trying to find the drone kills, but so many spine crawlers and that spore crawler as well. Bly trying to get to that detection. Even the Queen's helping out a ton here. And there's that hive, and Snute is hitting across the field while a good chunk of Bly's army is going for harassment. Lots of ravages from the Ukrainian Zerg. Snute does get out the road, nearly loses Infestor to Biles, but not quite. And he's got to watch out for those fungals. They are so dangerous.
Oh, Snute's trying to force his way in, but Bly getting on down there with a lot of the roaches and ravages. Nice fungal growth from Snute. Does lock down some of the units. Bly's counterattack still being a big frustration over on Snute's side of the map. Snute has his own Spire coming down as well, but for now, he just wants to keep on trying to fight here, pressing this advantage. It looks like the roach counterattack of Bly ran into the main base into a bunch of spine crawlers and is about to fizzle out. So right now, this is the only fight that matters. Snute here just holding on, crushing away, starting to work on the drones. These ravages in the front line are going to start to take a lot of damage. I think Bly does have enough to clear this up, but at what cost? Almost all of the ravages are being focused down by Snute. And at the end of the day, I'm not sure if Bly will even hold on.
Yeah, it looks like he may just have enough to break here, and even if he does, there's 32 more roaches on the way, and +3 attack is not far away, Pig, and that's going to be a little bit too tough as time goes on here for the Ukrainian Zerg to deal against the Norwegian Zerg, who's really crushing through this natural.
He's trying to do everything he can.
That's all you need to do right now.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. The Hive did go down there, as our observer is pointing out, but he's got a... Well, it's a hatchery in the main, wasn't it? Okay,
yeah.
The Hive
is actually at the third.
Hive's alive.
Enough.
Okay. Corruptors are on the way for Bly. Desperation Broodlords will be the next order of choice, but there is already a Spire finished for Snute. And just rebuilding that Roach Hydra Infestor army. Snute is already remaxed, which means he can start pushing out across the map. He's just clearing out this Evo chamber to open up a path. And he's just going to push across. He'll see the Broodlords ahead of time, and that will put him in a great position. You notice Bly moving around the north side of the map. He wants to try and hit Snute from behind, try and pull him home, try to buy time to get those Broodlords out, but I just don't think it will be enough. Snute here, just looking in control of this entire game, really. It hasn't been too complex for him. He's just been able to muscle his way through in the macro game.
And he's just going to DPS the hell out of this base. All the static defense of Bly just evaporating here as he clears out that hatchery, moves his way into the third base, and I just don't see a way for Bly to hold this at all. He's even got some of his army supply over here trying to even things out, but he has to engage Snute's army at some point, and he's never going to be able to beat him in a base race.
Yeah, he's trying. He wants that Greatest Spire to finish so badly. He's already got about 10 Corruptors waiting, but it's going to be a bit too little too late. Snute's just going to dive on into that natural, start to blast everything down. I'm not sure if those are his Infestors or Bly's in the main, but there's only a few of them. They don't even have any energy yet, so yeah, there's nothing to combo with them.
But I mean, you know, those 3 fungals go down, and then they go, okay, well, we're not fungled anymore, and then they just kill them, so... The Infestors do go down, Infestation going down, and the main of Bly will go down. And that looks like Snute's just seconds away from taking this victory here. Bly is going to try and make this work with Broodlords, but again, we have brought it up. The Spire is finished for Snute. I'm pretty sure Bly didn't kill that, so he can make, you know, he can get that that army. Yeah, it is still there for Snute. And plenty of bank to get those Mutas or Corruptors, whatever he wants, really.
Exactly. I mean, Bly's last buildings are going down. He's got drones hidden in the top right of the map, where he can, oh, they're barriered as well. Nice and hidden. He can build a few extractors with his 135 minerals. He's trying to buy time, trying to do something, but of course, Bly doesn't see what we see. Doesn't realize that Snute is maxed out with a big bank. Still got a decent little economy going for him, and man, I love those physics on this map.
Yeah, and this is really telling the tale here. These Broodlords, as far as Bly knows, an option here. Parasitic bombs going down on the Broodlords, because why not?
Oh,
Snute's just being cheeky here with these with the extra energy on those Vipers.
It's not every day you see Snute do a cheeky little maneuver like that, but I do like to see that.
Yeah, it's coming out of his shell a little bit. He's feeling like he needs to crush some skulls.
That's the Zerg mana mule, is just abducting units for no reason.
And we see that Snute is in the production tab making 14 Corruptors. is getting up there, and that is, once Bly sees the corrupt account, he's probably going to tap out here. There it is, GG. Snute getting game number 1 there against Bly in a pretty hectic game 1 that went straight into the late game. Not something you expect when you think about Bly versus another Zerg.
Not at all, and I think we saw why there. You know, even though he skipped the Baneling Nest, even though he got a nice, small little engagement on a few of Snute's Zerglings, it looked like, hey, everything's going right for Bly. Oh, Snute's up 8 drones. And it was like, oh, okay. You know, Snute clearly knows all the little details of how to defend perfectly while kind of getting ahead and putting everything into that economy.
Yeah.
Bly, on the other hand, not as practiced in those games, just didn't look... I'm sure he also kind of feels like it's not the level he'd expect from himself in that early game. So I think we might see a very different approach in game number 2.
Well, it kind of has to be for Bly here because he is in the loser's bracket and he's 1 map away from elimination. This is it. This is his last chance. He needs to win the next 2 maps here if he wants to have a shot at the next group stages, and that's the same deal for Snute sitting on match point here. And we do know Jens quite well. He does buckle under pressure, but after game 1, he was so in control and he does not look like he's feeling too much pressure right now.
Yeah, he's you know, he's just kind of calmly dealing with everything that came his way. I normally am hypercritical of a player that sits back as much as Snute did that game because it gives your opponent a lot of opportunities to get back in the game. But knowing the sort of player that Bly is, I think just playing that carefully, you can't hate on him for it. I'm sure he's played games where he thought he'd won, goes out on the map, loses a base trade, and says, why did I move out then? I could have just been more patient.
It is tricky in this mirror matchup of all. Now we're going to go to the analysis desk quickly to see what's happening with the other games with the boys.
Thank you very much, guys. Unfortunately, there's not other games going on right now. We're just waiting now to kind of wind down on bracket 1 and then get into bracket 2 later on down the line. So we've had perfect opportunity to actually watch this game and see how Bly has gone up against Snute. This seems like Snute's domain, though, here in Zerg versus Zerg, when he goes into those heavy Roach Ravager compositions and is able to kind of muscle people out in the mid-game, right?
Yeah, and I mean, he reached Hive, so he took Bly into deep waters where he had never been before. Like, Bly must have been confused for a little bit. He was like, what do I do? Try to go for Broodlords, but it was way too late. And what would a StarCraft tournament be without a Team Liquid team kill, guys? Like, Snute has to win this and face TLO, right?
Clearly. But will he win this? Because let's not forget, you know, like, that map, Abyssal Reef, that's going to be a great one to defend against attacks on, right? Because all the chokes are very small, the areas are tight. Ling Bane is not going to be as effective. Roach attacks are not going to be as effective. So we saw them max relatively quickly, and that's going to favor Snute, who's such a macro Zerg. So I don't think it's as straightforward as it's just going to be a quick 2-0.
I think that, you know, Bly is a crafty player, but I think if you just look at the way that Snute approaches this matchup, there is so much more muscle. I mean, he really does overpower him. I don't know if Bly is going to be able to maneuver out of this. I think it actually might be a 2-0.
I mean, there's a fine art to Zerg versus Zerg, right? In the mid-game, especially when you're on Roach, Ravager, maybe some Hydras mixed in, as to when you transition on. Does Snute just have a better grasp of, like, transitioning onto the potential later stages compared to, say, for example, Bly, who, as you said, was floundering a little bit here on the Reef?
Oh, absolutely. Like, if Snute is on point, if he's playing his A game, and if we go into any kind of Roach versus Roach, which is pretty much every single game, unless we have a Baneling or Zergling all-in, he's always going to be in a good position, I think, against Bly. So,
all right, well, I'm just getting word that we are ready to go into game number 2, gentlemen. So thank you very much, as we're about to head to game number 2 between Bly and Snute to see who advances on to the final match here in bracket number 1.
Pretty excited here. Thank you very Kalaris. For game number 2, we're going to be having Bly, seeing if he can come back in the next 2 games against Snute, who is sitting on match point, and he'll be ready for the winner of TLO versus Lambo. Now,
that is TLO as well. Went through there,
that's true.
so
That's true. Yes. So it will be the Team Liquid team kill, as the boys were just talking about.
Yeah, potentially.
Now, is Bly going to put his Bly socks back on and just be like?
I hope so.
I'm actually feeling it. If I was, you know, I am a betting man. And if I had cash or somewhere, some kind of bookie here at the ESL studios here in Poland, if there was a bookie here, I would be giving him a bit of money to say that Bly is going to be very aggressive this next game.
Oh, yeah.
Something a little bit cheesy, a little bit early.
Even if he opens up normal with like a Hatchgrass pool, I want it to end like the moment the spawning pool finishes. I want to see Queens denying Overlord vision. I want to see Overlords elevatoring Zerglings, all sorts of madness. Of course, we are going to find out soon. We are going into game number 2 on Proxima Station LE, spawning down here in the bottom right-hand side. Our red Zerg, it is Snute. Playing for Team Liquid.
Yeah. Cannot forget as well, he made it all the way to the grand finals in last season's Intel Extreme Masters Katowice final. In the top right here, Got to win the next 2 maps here against a heavyweight. This is Bly from Team Expert. And what a team that is.
They're experts. Yeah. They're
oh, pig. You should get a... Kalaris needs a raise for the floundering on the reef.
Oh, that was...
You need a raise for what you just said.
Yeah, except I don't know, I feel like Kalaris actually does, whereas I kind of deserve to be bopped on the head with a mallet.
It didn't land on the desk. It didn't land on the desk. But you can guarantee that Pig and I here, we love a good pun. So, good work, James. And there it is. There's that early pull, but it's not from Bly.
So I guess this is more of a pull first expand, right? Gas pull for Snute does give them the potential option to go for a nice, fast Ling Bane pressure, something which Snute has not really steered away from too much off this opening in particular. Snute kind of goes 50-50 when he opens up gas pool into hatch. 50-50, it'll be like defend, and the other 50% is just make a whole bunch of Ling Bane off 19 workers, do a huge pressure, and only drone behind that. And especially if you, as the kind of aggressive mindset player of Bly, you think Snute's a defensive guy, you might not take that into account. So he may be blindsided if Snute goes for something like that.
Could indeed. See that the speed is going down here for Snute, still mining that gas, and he's having a look, seeing what's up in Blysville. Not a whole lot to report home about. It seems pretty regular here for a ZvZ. So I would have lost money at that bookies pick.
Yeah, I mean, Bly did take the front hatchery first, though, so it is going to make it a lot easier to take the third in the back. It's also going to make it harder for Snute to spot the third and what's going on there. So Bly here, it's a little bit more dangerous in the initial phase, and I mean, we're going to have to keep our eye on that production tab, because if more Zerglings, more Zerglings for Snute right now, not Banelings. So this is going to give him the potential to do that Ling Bane attack I was talking about, and it's because Bly's hatchery is built out front, that's going to be very dangerous. Already Snute positioning those Zerglings, looking to hide those for the future Banelings.
Very clever maneuver here from the Norwegian Zergs. Bly comes around with his first links to see what's up in Snute's main. So, I mean, with the pocket back expansion, it does have a, this map does have a very unique feature in that sense.
Oh, man. Ro4 and an Evo chamber on the way for Bly. That's not what he needs right now. No Banelingness whatsoever. If he can wall off, that might be good. He sees the Zerglings now. Snute is going to surround them. Bly needs to buy time. Good micro on his Zerglings to buy precious extra seconds, but is it enough? The Evo chamber wall is down, but there's a lot of surface area. And what can Bly build behind this? All he can build is Queens and Zerglings. And with the Baneling tech out for Snute, those Zerglings of Bly are not going to be very effective. He needs to defend this wall.
Well, he will be able to deflect these 2 Banelings for starters, but the thing is, that is the Ling Flood coming here from Snute, and that is going to be a thing that he needs to stop. So Snute's actually going to pull back and take a third instead, which leads Bly with this wall here.
Yeah, Snute actually didn't build as many drones. I got caught a little bit overhyping there. I guess I need to keep an eye on that production tab a little bit more. He started droning after just about 16 Zerglings, so Snute kind of forces the wall off, but building all those units, not really dealing any damage, it definitely does favor Bly. So the only real disadvantage Bly has is the lack of that third base. It's only starting now, about 20-25 seconds behind Snute's. But he's got Roach Tech on the way, he's got upgrades on the way.
I'm
liking
the
situation for Bly
as well. So, that third is as safe can be. Lair on the way here for the Ukrainians, getting his extra gases. See how many gases he does go up to, looks like 3.
Ooh, looks like Snute might go for a bit of elevator action. That's a good idea here. The back rocks on this map are almost useless for a Zerg player because you can only hit it with 4 Zerglings at a time. So if you put 4 Zerglings on the rocks, it takes about 6 minutes to take down. It's almost not even worth trying to do. So Snute instead going to try and elevator up the back door, see if he can maybe snipe off that third hatch.
Remember how you were incorrect about the Ling Flood? I just said that this third's really safe.
Well, he's actually keeping an eye out, so Bly here, he's ready for any tricky maneuvers. He'll see this coming in. He will, of course, get overwhelmed with these couple of slow Zerglings, but he should be able to bring Queens over in time.
Lack of creep spread there. It's going to be a little bit tough. Looks like he's not going to go for the 30s. He's going to go into the main here and try and get a Queen kill or as many drone kills as possible.
Ooh, good drone pull there by Bly. Will manage to catch a few of these Zerglings.
Oh, yeah, nice catch there. Yeah. Great drone micro from Bly.
That's a really good, just nip it in the bud. Make sure those Zerglings can't run circles around your base being annoying. So Snute sees what he's up against. He goes, okay, you've got 2 bases saturated. You're going Roaches. Ooh, I'm only on Ling Bane tech right now. I'm only just starting my lair. And I think Snute's got to feel a little bit dicey in this situation. He knows he's up in workers, but what does he do? Does he build spine crawlers? He's going to build a Roach Warren, but it's so late. I think he needs to start massing spine crawlers at the front or he's just going to get overwhelmed.
Yeah, it is kind of that way, especially in ZvZ, in this mirror matchup, where if you're just behind on tech, the other guy just has more of the same thing than you do, so you just get overwhelmed by sheer numbers. And we're seeing that, like, he decided that he wanted to break out, but changed his mind there just at the end. And Snoot's going for another elevator here, just with slightly less lings, but looks like Bly's on the case here.
Snoot's getting away with some real greed, though. You know, he's just got no fighting units out right now. He's at 9 army supply, but Bly keeps on going for mutas instead of committing to the roaches. And I think this is one scenario where if he committed to those roaches, he would have had a fantastic timing attack. He's still getting the upgrades, but he's just committing to Spire. Snoot sees it once again. And he sees lots of drones in that third. And look at this. Snute just maintaining this worker advantage all game long. He's got 0 army on the map, and yet he's completely safe.
Yeah, Infestation Pit on the way, and we'll be seeing a Hydra Den pretty shortly from Snute as well. It's to be assumed here. As he went forward in game number 1 and just really won pretty much every engagement except for, I think, one when he was trying to attack the 4th hatchery of Bly on Abyssal.
Yeah.
When he had to break his army up in half. Spy just about to finish here for Bly.
Well,
Roach speed and +1 on the way for Snute. So he's down a bit on upgrades. Bly does have stronger roaches, but
identical game to game 1 otherwise, though. So I would love to see a different transition from Bly to break it up. You know, he stayed on that Roach Ravager and just found no openings in game 1. If he goes for Lurkers this time, goes for something a bit different, I'd love to see that. But so far, it looks like it's just more of the same for Bly. He's going to go for a Roach Ravager pressure here. As we said, Snute was being very greedy earlier, but I think now he has equalized in that army supply. Just needs to get his units in position. Where are they? There they are.
There they are, but unfortunately leaving the drone line a little bit open here for Bly to dart in, get some kills. He got the Queen very, very quickly. Actually taking some bile shots is Snute, and finding himself in a bit of a Bly concave here.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward fight here for Snute. He didn't have Roach Speed finished. His +1 wasn't finished. He only had Carapace done, so this is actually a great fight for Bly. And this is what I was talking about. If Bly actually committed to only Roach Ravager, I feel like Snute would just be dead right now. But as it is, still a good trade for Bly. Kills a bunch of drones, kills an Infestor that pops out, and kills a whole bunch of drones. That's a really nice attack for Bly.
So the roaches will be cleaned up, but as Pig said, very, very worth it here. Snute does have a army supply advantage, still doesn't have those upgrades. They're just about to finish. In fact, when +1 finishes for Snute, Bly's roaches will still be stronger. +2 will be done. Getting pathogen glands now for those infestors. And still haven't seen that Hydra Den yet from Snute that I've been expecting, but he really is at the in the make units mode right now.
Yeah, in drones as well. He's still making more drones. He's going up to 80 workers while counter-attacking. Snute is just going for the raw, I have more stuff than you. I'm going to attack you and drone at the same time. It's a little bit madness here from Snute, but I mean, he seems to be trading decently, so can't fault him too much just yet. He is now down in army supply, though, and with such a short counter-attack distance and that upgrade disadvantage, as being pointed out by Observer, this is a little bit dicey. Should Snute really have counter-attacked while building 10 drones?
Yeah, may not have checked the upgrades there. It may be punished for his greed as Bly comes in here. And this 4th is actually in a fair bit of trouble if he does set his sights on it. He does, only breaking off a few roaches, though. If he committed his whole army there, that would probably be a dead hatchery, but he's going to leave us some here, waiting for Snute's reinforcements to try and defend against these roaches that have killed a Queen. They're going to start getting drone kills pretty shortly as well.
Bly playing this so well. Finds the nice angle here. His roaches on that 4th base, picking off workers in the meantime, using this upgrade advantage while it lasts and taking a very nice position.
Yeah, beautiful
Snute is starting to fall apart a little bit. He just doesn't have enough army to contest this well-upgraded Roach force of Bly.
The drones have been cleared out of that base in the north here. The 4th hatchery of Snute's lost all of its workers to these roaches of Bly. And he's still winning the engagement here in the natural. In fact, Snute's reinforcements may just be able to clean this up. +2, still only halfway done for Snute, and Bly's just trading so well. 16 drone kills in this push, and a lot of Snute's army as well.
Yes, Snute here has got to be kicking himself. I mean, he hangs on barely, but there was no reason for him to be in such a dicey position. Now Bly has that gold base up and mining. Snute still has roaches in his 4th. He's still waiting for that +2 to finally catch on up. Any advantage from infestors is not in the game right now. And Bly still has that army advantage. He's still finding these favorable trades, constantly focusing down the ravages of Snute.
That's right, and this engagement looks all right for Snute for a while, but again, that upgrade advantage gone. There's that hatchery kill, and we got a 4-base Zerg versus a 3-base Zerg, and one of those is a gold. So pretty rough income-wise, as we see here by the income tab he brought up by the Observer. And the Ukrainian Zerg is ahead in pretty much every single way here. Well, actually, the upgrade's about to even out.
And Snute does have the extra carapace, so that's something. It's not massive in Roach versus Roach, but it does mean something. So, you know, he's going to equalize in the upgrades, but the thing is that gold-based. Look at the income at the bottom of your screens. You can see that right now, Bly, even though he's down a few workers, mining 400 extra minerals a minute. And the thing is, this gap is going to get bigger and bigger because Snute does not have a 4th base. It's just starting at the gold base right now. So his mineral lines are starting to mine out. Meanwhile, Bly comfortably mining spread across 4 bases.
Seeing pathogen glands getting researched again here by Snute. I feel like he was already started research there. Maybe he cancelled it, but we do have an engagement here for Bly. He does have tunneling claws, and Snute's got a nice concave here. Where he actually has a bit of surround, but it just seems like just overwhelming numbers here from Bly.
Yeah.
Rushing through this army of Snute.
Great Ravager focus fire from Snute, but he just doesn't have the numbers to carry through there. His queens are all being forced to the front, throwing down Desperation Transfuses. If he loses that 4th base, it's going to be terrible. And Bly just, gets on top of it, takes that away. And Bly here, after what looked like a very poor situation for him earlier in the game, suddenly way ahead. And Snute is just trying to hang on for dear life. He's got to drag this game out. I guess Infestors are his one efficient unit, which he can maybe kind of bring it back into this game. But when you're down 30 army supply in Roach Ravager versus Roach Ravager, you really need to start praying.
They are an excellent comeback tool, but this graph is really telling the story here. Bly is, you know, the advantage is starting to increase for him here as he keeps mining from that 4th base, and as Snute loses his 4th. He's trying to take the 4th again to the north. He's lost 2 of his bases in this game so far.
It's all about concave management and using those corrosive biles, but I'm not sure Snute has the numbers to stop Bly from just jumping on top of him.
Yeah, 30 extra army supply here for Bly.
Good withdrawal there from Snute into the choke point and says, yeah, you want to fight me, chase me in here. And Bly calmly, patiently splits off Roaches into the 4th base, and he's just going to keep poking at the front. Spine Crawl is finishing up here, but Bly's just going to blast those down. Infestors do not have Fungal. There we go. Fungal starts to land. Doesn't have too much corrosive bile paired with it, but it was a nice amount of damage. Snute needs to take a massive trade right now. His 4th base is on the brink of death. He needs to get out there and save that 4th base. It's getting very low right now. Those Roaches starting to focus it down. He does manage to rout Bly's army for now. The supplies are actually tied up very close right now. If Snute can keep that 4th alive, he's still got a fighting chance, but he's so afraid of Bly's frontal force. I think he might have waited too long.
Yeah, I think this hatchery's actually in bad shape here, Pig. If he just target fires that, will it go down here? Bly's nearly got that hatchery kill. Oh, he's skirting around.
Oh my God, one more hit. One more hit.
It is. Big pick off there for Bly. And Snute, that comeback that we were sort of starting to see a glimmer of hope here for Snute, suddenly starts to get dashed away.
Yeah, no chance. I can't imagine there's much chance after that. And impressive to hold on as long as he has while being down so much mining. But look at that Bly's bank right now. He's got 1,300 minerals in the bank. He's actually got a little bit of a gas shortage because he's got so much money coming in from those gold minerals. He's got more and more Ravagers joining in with his Roach army, and he's just going to keep pushing. He's going to keep Snute down at this weak point where Snute just can't get a new 4th base up. He can't equalize the armies, and just look at this advantage for Bly. So many more Ravagers.
Lovely micro as well from both players, actually. But Bly getting the advantage in this game, really wearing the daddy pants at the moment in game number 2, looking like he wants to tie up the series. Snute desperately trying to get that 4th. It is his last lifeline, but he's getting mined out. He just doesn't have income.
It's all about the fungal bile combo. Snute has 4 Infestors. He's got only 4 Ravagers, but he's trying to spend the rest of his gas on more Ravagers now. He's getting close to maxed out. Snute knows, yes, he's behind. Yes, he can't replenish, but if he takes one perfect engagement, then it'll all be worth it. Bly, though, splitting units off, constantly splitting up Snute's attention. He knows that Snute can't split his army up effectively. If Bly keeps on taking these small trades with counterattacks, he can just whittle Snute down.
Cutting into drones that Snute cannot afford to lose here, as his economy is really the reason he's losing this game at this moment. Bly just getting up into the main with his Roaches that Snute's not really dealing with. He's going to lose more drones here. Not too much mining going on here, not too many drones left, but still, he can't afford to lose these. He can't send these down to the 4th. And Bly at the front here with possibly the last engagement of this game. These fungals and biles need to be amazing for Snute.
Snute lands a few decent corrosive biles, but the corrosive biles out of Bly are incredible. The Infestors sitting far at the back. Snute just kind of headbutting into that concave. Bly's positioning, his biles are just too good. He shreds Snute's army to pieces, and Bly here just controlling the pace of the game, not giving up his advantage at all. It looks like Snute here finally landing some fungals, but it's just not enough. He's down. He's going to even lose the spawning pool in the back, and this has been a very good game out of Bly.
That's got to be curtains now for Snute here, and we're going to go to game 3, which excites me, Pig. More roaches.
Oh, yes. The most exciting type of Zerg versus Zerg there is. And it actually is now in Legacy of the Void because the players are forced to expand and attack so much. Bly just going to run away with this game, going to tie it up.
Yeah, 30 more roaches here. That is the nail in the coffin for Snute. No other way about it. He's even broken down the rock, so it's even easier for him to kill that fourth base now, which is all that remains here for Snute as his income starts to dwindle from not much to 0.
Snute did a valiant job of hanging on this game. No doubt just gathering himself there before he does tap out. Does type GG. Bly equalizes now, just one game away from going to the next stage. The final qualifying match is the one after this. Either player, whoever wins the next match, goes through to face TLO there.
Yeah, let your friends know, guys. This is a final map to decide these two huge household names in the Zerg camp. One of them is going to go home and one of them is going to move on here. It is a big, big moment for both these players. Snute, a previous grand finalist of Intel Extreme Masters Katowice against Bly, the contender here. And everyone, pretty much everyone on the analysis desk, I myself as well, kind of favored Snute here. I didn't expect Bly to play as well as he did. But game 2 really convinced me that 3 could go in any direction.
Yeah, I've got to bring it back to that one bizarre moment where Snute, I didn't think things looked too great early on, but then he built 10 drones when he was already at 70 drones in a Zerg versus Zerg. He went to 80 workers in a Zerg versus Zerg. Absolute madness. I'm sure Snute's kicking himself over that one.
Yeah, unfortunate loss there for Snute, but for Bly fans, a very fortunate loss. And we're going to go over to the boys at the desk to see what they thought about this series.
Thank you very much, Maynard. Of course, as we do have the 1-1 happening right now with the potential of Bly being able to move on forwards here as he does tie up the series. Boys, what did you think of that game as a whole? It seemed like Bly had a bit more of an aggressive stance, which really lent its well to the victory overall.
Yeah, I think he opened very well. Like, he knew what he wanted to do on Proxima, and even though Snute had some nice moves like that Ling drop and all, just kind of the aggression, the sniping of that hatchery just right, and the way he made Snute pull around units, very well played by Bly. Bly.
Yeah. Perfect.
Tasteless, any thoughts?
Look, I thought he did a really good job. I do still think Snute's going to win this, though.
Yeah.
Do you guys, are you still staying?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Snute.
You're going to stick with Tasteless
even
on
though this was just a faux pas.
So you guys are basically choosing the overall most successful foreigner of all time. Oh, that's great. But I'm going to go ahead and say, look, I think that Bly's aggressive style, he's playing well today, and I think he can still take it. Like, that's like a pretty good macro map too, Proxima, right? So that's like one where Snute would kind of, feel at home at, I would say.
It always feels to me when I watch Bly play Zerg versus Zerg, he just needs to seize the tempo himself, right? And just make sure he's always the aggressor and trying to be in the face of Snute. Is that
I think you are correct. There are some players where they do try to like cripple or gimp their opponent early on and then come in with the closer. And then there are other players who are just always a little bit ahead, and at the end of the race, they've won. So we'll have to see how the early part of this next game goes. Is Bly going to be able to pull off any kind of maneuver like that?
Make no mistake about it, Artosis. I'm only picking Snute because I'm picking against you, not because of any other reason.
Oh, that's great. I love it when you do that, because every time you do, I end up winning, which would mean Bly can do well.
I'm not so sure about that.
When you look at the maps that have already been used, we're probably going to have something wide open. I'm not sure what it is, but it might be like a Newkirk or a Belshire or something. These are great maps for Ling Bane.
Maybe. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, as we now head into game number 3, over to the casters to find out who's going to win this series.
Thank you very much, James. Of course, the big deciding map coming up here. We're just moments away. I'm starting to get a little bit jiggly, piggly.
A little bit excited.
Yes.
The pressure all comes down to this moment. And I really hope we get more and more shots of Snute's face, because whenever it comes to these high-pressure moments, I mean, Snute's one of those guys, he kind of wears his emotions on his sleeve a little bit in these high-pressure moments. Even when he wins important games, sometimes you see him he looks like he's lost almost, because there's so much pressure and he cares so much about winning.
He feels like he could do better. That's even when he wins in huge series, and you're like, you got to be riding this far wave. You're in the semi-finals of this huge tournament. He's like, missed an inject here and there.
Exactly.
Really
He's just got that level of dedication. And Bly as well, a guy who just keeps defying expectations. People keep saying, oh yeah, this sort of style, this aggressive play, it's really good early in an expansion. Can it continue through? And Bly is showing that he's able to do it so far.
Indeed. And in the top left here of Belshire Vestige, the final battleground between these two heavyweights, it is Snute.
Very focused there, playing for Team Liquid. His real contest is to keep his sense of momentum and tempo in the game and not just completely withdraw into a shell, because he is playing against a very scary, aggressive player down here in the bottom right-hand side, a guy who can pull literally anything out of his bag of tricks. It is Bly. Representing Team Expert.
Yeah.
An absolute veteran of the scene. One of the guys who creates a lot of the proxy hatchery, crazy builds out there, the early pool rushes. He is never afraid to bring those out. But here in Zerg vs. Zerg, we haven't seen too much craziness from him just yet today.
He actually just seems like he's pretty confident to play the mid game here in this matchup.
Yeah.
Some of the foliage there getting through that Intel Extreme Masters border.
I'm a little bit fascinated there. Bly, interestingly, going for a 16 spawning pool after his hatchery first opening, a very early spawning pool. So that's going to keep him very...
Snute, you mean?
No, that was Bly, right? Yeah, so
okay.
After his hatchery first, whereas Snute went for a spawning pool first, a gas pool into hatchery opening. So, I mean, I was talking about it at the start of the series. Are these Liquid players going to start going pool gas into a later hatchery every game, afraid of that one-base Ling Bane that they've been doing themselves so much? Yes, it looks like Snute wants to play a little bit safer here, but Bly, interestingly, looks like he was also worried about an early pool, because getting that early spawning pool of his own means a faster queen, faster 2 Zerglings for scouting. So respecting Snute's potential aggression as well.
Yeah, the old Team Liquid 1-base ZvZ build. He's a little bit worried about that.
Yep.
Fair enough. I've brought it up before, but Snute did bring that out against Lambo unsuccessfully, unfortunately. So the Baneling Nest here for Snute. So Ling Bane aggression for the Norwegian player here for game number 3.
Yeah, this is that magic drone count, 19 workers. Whenever you see this gas pool hatch opening, you want to see if they build lots of Zerglings from 19 workers or if they just keep on building what drones. So if he builds any more Zerglings, it's almost definitely that same Ling Bane pressure we saw him go for last game and then just kind of cancel because it was all fully walled off. But here on Belshire, it's a little bit harder to wall off the front. But hey, Bly, he's already getting a fast creep tumor. That tells us we know he's going to be going for the same sort of roach-focused play. He's going to go for an evolution chamber, roach war, and wall off. But the pressure is going to be on him to do that just perfectly to make sure it denies the Ling Bane pressure once again.
Yeah, this wall needs to have no leaks, because if this flood of Lings gets in, and it is going to be a flood. There's 8 more on the way here. Speed just finishing now for Snute. He is making actually some drones behind this, so he may just want to just pressure a little bit or just try and get as much damage done as possible.
Exact same execution as last game from him. Just 2 Banelings, these Zerglings going to be coming with his own drones behind this. Because he forces the wall off, it's not like he has to kill Bly, but he would like to get in there, and there's a gap. The Zergling's going to start to wrap around. There's no transfuse. That Queen is going to go down. Drones fall to the front.
As well.
Oh, massive damage here for Snute. As we said, the wall needed to be perfect. There was just the slightest mispositioning on that Queen from Bly, and now he is in trouble down. Drones are just pouring out for Snute behind this. Any damage he gets from here is just a bonus, but this is a massive bonus he's getting. His boss is very pleased with him. He is just raking in the profits right now.
That is extra beef in the pierogi here for Snute. He is large and in charge with 10 drones damage before the 4-minute mark. That is devastating. Critical damage here by Snute. Just 1 pixel gap there to let those Lings get in, and all of a sudden, that strength of the build has been shown here.
You know, a lesser player like me wouldn't even try to go for that. It looked like a solid wall.
It looked like
Snute was very frantically going attack move and then spamming move commands behind the Queen, trying to force his Zerglings through a potential gap. Just being such a high-level player, he tests for that weakness every single time, finds it on this rare occasion and capitalizes so hard.
And he's going to take a third base here. Now, Bly does have some units seeing what's going on. Looks like he does have enough to be able to pressure this or force Snute to cancel.
Yeah, actually, this is a bit of a pain for Snute here. Really should have had a few of his own Zerglings out. Losing that third is a bit of a pain. Because I was going to say, I mean, Bly's in such a bad position because he doesn't have Ling speed. There's no counter-aggression. Snute just kind of smiles to himself, folds his arms and says, I can take a third base for free, but apparently 6 Zerglings is all you need to deny that.
And this move from Bly brings him back into the contention here for game number 3. Delaying that third means Snute needs to take it down here and delay his advantage that he earned for himself here after that initial attack. He is still in a lovely worker lead, though. 5 workers up. Isn't huge, but at this point in the game, it is quite nice, especially in a mirror.
Yes, Snute really slow to retake the third, and he's actually pulling back the drone from the other base, and he's going to lose this one. Oh, man, Snute here. looking a little bit shaky right when the pressure's on. He's in such a good position, but I think he's realizing it. He needs to get himself back focused and in the zone. Don't get me wrong, guys. Snute's still in a great position here. There's no third on the way for Bly, but if he had a third base finished right now, he would be so flexible.
Yeah.
Now Bly knows how late that third is, and this makes Bly's options a lot more obvious. He knows, okay, I can just afford to build roaches, be safe, because there's no way you're getting up to a big 3-base economy until that hatchery finishes.
And Bly's trying to get his third up at the same time as Snute, who had that huge worker advantage. That's insane. His pressure really worked out here for the Ukrainian Zerg. Snute coming across here for his own run by, but a lovely Overlord spread of Bly does mean that he knows that this third is open for his roaches. Does he decide to pull back here? Does he have enough to stop Snute from cancelling his third? Oh, Bly decides to pull back.
Oh man, those
and with
roaches.
speed.
Oh, this is going to be really tight here. The roach speed is not quite done for Bly, but Snute backs off. Doesn't want to commit there. Probably wouldn't have got it. His own roaches are coming across as well, though. Snute now in a very nice position. He can start to knock the Overlords off the map with Corrosive Bile and potentially counterattack with the Zerglings while hitting the roaches on the front.
Oh, Bly, take it easy here. He does have +1 for his roaches, I think. It's pretty sure yes, he does. Both players do. Speed advantage here for Snute for those lings, but not a huge deal in this roach headbutt play. The Ravagers coming in. Doesn't look like any Ravagers for Bly yet. Oh, if he gets the Roach Warren.
Oh, wow. And Snute is already way up in army supply. The Roach Warren falls.
Yeah.
And very nicely done. Snute producing roaches only right now. Bly desperately needs to try and hold on right at this point before the roaches get out of control. His own Spire is on the way behind this, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Snute just crashing his way through this wall.
And Bly can't reinforce these roaches. The Warren is dead. The Spire is not going to come into play here. He doesn't even have that much gas to make meters. He's forced to make anything he can here, and that is slow lings. 13 drones going dead, and it's looking like the Norwegian Zerg can pull this one through and get himself a series here and move on in the first bracket.
Snute here is just playing this so calmly. He's even adding another drone in behind this. He's got more and more roaches rallying across the map. He doesn't have an answer to Mutalisks, but guess what? Bly can build one Mutalisk right now.
Yeah.
It's not something to be too afraid of. Snute can continue to push with these roaches, and he is just in control of this game.
Yeah, Bly's using his lava to desperately make anything he can because he knows a counterattack from Snute will be potentially extremely deadly here. He's making a couple drones, getting roaches out. He remade his Roach Warren. Snute's army is still better. It's bigger. And he's just trying to push back Bly here and just end this game. Going into the natural now with these roaches and these Ravagers. Queen kill here, cutting into their production even further. And a reinforcement of roaches here from Snute should seal the deal as Bly is forced to pull back. And losing this engagement here in the natural. The drones all gone. They died earlier in that first push.
Astounding play. Great form from the Norwegian powerhouse. He is the most consistent foreign player of all time in StarCraft II, and he is not going to be stopped this early in this qualifier. Right. He is looking poised to go through to that final match where he will have to face off against his teammate.
Yeah, Bly
he is not going to let this one slip
tapping
away.
out here, and the Katowice Grand Finalist for 2016 does move on here. It was very hairy for him there as Bly showed his Zerg muscle, his ZvZ strength really showing, and what a happy sigh of relief there for Snute, and a devastating game for Bly. You can see the difference in emotions between both these players and how much this means to both of them. Such an important series.
Such a stark contrast there, and
yeah,
that really is what's always
it's beautiful,
made me just love 1v1 sport and competition.
Oh, wow.
You know, you can see Snute looked under so much pressure after that that first game and that second game. But here now at the end, finally, he can breathe that sigh of relief, at least for another moment, at least until the next match. Bly, unfortunately, will be going home. Will not have a chance to progress further in this tournament. I believe he will be picking up some prize money, as it is the top 44 players that will be getting that.
He did get in the money, but I mean, he didn't want that. He wanted to get into Spodek Arena. He really wanted that. This is so devastating. Like, Bly is clearly quite devastated from the series, and I'm actually starting to feel a little bit emotional watching Bly here on camera.
Yeah.
While Snute just got no care in the world, he just has to worry about his next series here against his teammate.
It's just one of these things where the amount of passion and effort these players put into this is insane, and especially when you get a tournament format like this where it's like, hey, this is the qualifier, you're going to have to play a whole bunch of other top-level pro gamers just to get through to the group stage, to the top 24 of the tournament. It's brutal. It's the highest level of competition, and this is the sort of event which we've been craving in the StarCraft scene for a while. I'm so excited to see how this week plays out.
It's like a long pool of cool water after you have a stay in the desert. It feels so good.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to just go to a break quick, and then we'll have the winners interview with Snute and Smix. Don't go away, guys. We'll see you soon.